In my experience and all the calls that we've ever gotten or the marketing that we've done for ourselves, I've yet to come across that objection myself personally. Not to say it doesn't happen. I'm sure it probably does, but it has not come up to me yet. The thing that we hear more of is
direct to seller marketing, specifically mail, from somebody who has a very large sample size. But before getting into it, Mason, how's it going?
And things are good. This was a really fun conversation and timely because I just ordered, a decent size order of the products that they offer from Ballpoint Marketing. And that's who we have on the show today, Justin Dossey, the co-founder and CEO of Ballpoint Marketing, a leading provider of handwritten direct mail for real estate investors, as well as the CEO of Call Porter, a 24/7 live answering service built specifically for the industry. Alongside his brother Ryan, Justin has scaled Ballpoint Marketing to produce over 500,000 authentic Ballpoint ink mailers each month while serving hundreds of investors nationwide. Known for blending innovative technology with timeless marketing psychology, he helps investors capture attention, build trust, and convert more leads. Outside of business, Justin is a husband, father of 3, and avid outdoorsman who brings a thoughtful, people-first approach to entrepreneurship. So, without further ado, let's meet the man himself. Here's Justin Dossey.
Justin, welcome to the show.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys.
Yeah, absolutely. Mason and I are definitely excited to talk to you. Direct mail has been the core of our business since each of us started. And in fact, I've seen a huge uptick recently in response rates and just the effectiveness of it. So, to that end, we were talking before we started recording how we've all heard people say intermittently, direct mail is dead. What do you say to that?
I say I hear that all the time, and I've heard that since we opened in 2019. It's funny because you guys probably know this with real estate investors. Everyone's jumping to the next shiny object of like what's going to work, right? And in my experience, since we've been in this business, there's a couple things that are consistent and high producing and something that's repeatable. And for us, it's been direct mail. I know for you guys, it's been direct mail. And, I'm a big proponent of not jumping around to all the shiny objects because you're never going to be a master of anything. So I like to focus on being a master of the one thing first and moving on to the next thing. And for us, that's where we started with direct mail.
Yeah. So Ballpoint actually got started, or when you got started, it was more for yourself, wasn't it? For you and your brother to actually go out and get those?
Yeah, so it was actually for my brother originally. At that point, I was just running Call Porter, our sister company at that point. But yeah, his first ever marketing campaign he did was like a local guy here in St. Louis hand wrote letters for him and gave him envelopes, the paper, and a thing of stamps and like assemble it and send it out, basically kind of like a build your own mail piece box. So he got to do that and had really, really good response rates and just ended up finding this company that for the first machines that we used that he figured out how to work with them to program it to write an entire letter instead of just a signature. And it was just kind of one of those things that he was like sharing some of his results. And then some friends were like, hey, let me help me too. Like, I want to be involved on that. And it just kind of grew from there until we actually like took it serious, built it into a real business. And here we are today.
Very cool. Okay. Yeah. I love these stories where you were a practitioner of something. That's how you found out what worked. And then you took that and created a service business around it while continuing that you're a practitioner. I think that's really key because people outside of the business, whatever it might be, oftentimes don't really know what happens in practice. They only know what happens in theory. And so a lot is lost there oftentimes.
Yes. You get a lot of the, here's what I heard works. Now I'm going to try and build a business around it instead of here's what I know works. And both, like all of our companies have been built around solving our own problems first.
Yeah. That's oftentimes where the best companies come from. So
yeah,
talk to us about today. What is working for your clients?
Yeah. Good question, man. Because like you said at the beginning, like people say direct mail doesn't work. It's going to be different for every use case, every market that you're in. And that's why like here at Ballpoint, we'll always hop on calls. I know, Mason, you've chatted with people on our team a bunch of times of just like strategy and marketing and things like that. And for me, like the big thing is all in the data that you're sending to. You can go and like hire some of these really high-end companies that do AI analytics and predictive data and all that kind of stuff. But for us, the best data that we've always seen has been from county. So the closer you can get into county, get those niche records that you're not going to find on PropStream or ListSource or Deal Machine or any of those, like always start with that data first if you can, because that's not something we can pull. We don't have an army of virtual assistants that's going to go in and pull all the data for you out of your local county. But if you can do that yourself first and front load your list with that type of data, that's always going to help perform it better. From there, what we focus on is there's certain niche lists that you can pull from, like PropStream and Deal Machine, and those are typically who we recommend. Deal Machine more so lately, but things like pre-foreclosures, bankruptcies, liens over $1,000, or if you're in a major metro, like 5 to 10,000 even, inherited properties, and then even the standard absentee with equity list still performs. The thing that we do with that is we just do 3 or less properties owned. So you're not hitting somebody that has 400 rentals. Like, they're probably not going to sell, most likely. They're building something bigger than that. So that's kind of like the first thing that we focus on with our clients is like, okay, if you can pull some of that niche data first, great. If not, we're going to pull these data points for you. And then really the mail, and here, in my opinion, my theory, why people say direct mail doesn't work is because everybody sends the same damn thing.
Yes.
Everybody sends the same thing. And it's typically a Google Street View postcard, which I own a call center. I hear the calls that come in. Everybody hates getting those. Just from a customer experience standpoint, nobody likes getting them. The like third and final notice of attempted to reach you multiple times. This is the last time I'm reaching out. And then your standard like printed check mailers are the 3 big ones that I see a lot of. So you want to stand out from everybody else and have your mail piece be the one that somebody's going to take into their house instead of throwing it on the dumpster or into the dumpster on the way in. And so those are kind of like how Ballpoint is built, how we look at all of our products, how we look at our marketing is like, okay, how do we be different from every other investor that's out there and make pieces of mail that actually stand out, actually get calls and get results?
So an objection that I hear, and Dan and I have been talking about this a little bit. I just did my first order with Ballpoint Marketing. They showed up at my house. I'm sending them, from my Colorado Springs address whenever I get back from Portugal, so I can actually answer the phone. But and we're doing the hybrid greeting card, like the party format.
Perfect.
What we've heard is sometimes whenever they expect it to be a card from their grandma, because that's kind of what it looks like, and they see it's like an offer, to sell a property, or for me, it's an agent mailer where I'm saying, hey, I've got a client interested, or something very similar to what you guys have already on there. What do you say to that potential objection of, do you have an idea of what the open rate is or the frustration rate? Is it different or anything compared to other direct mail?
So in my experience and all the calls that we've ever gotten, or the marketing that we've done for ourselves, I've yet to come across that objection myself personally. Not to say it doesn't happen. I'm sure it probably does, but it has not been come up to me yet. The thing that we hear more of is, I held on to your letter because you took time to make it different and handwrote it, is what most people think, right? So while, yes, I could definitely see people having that issue come up, I don't hear about it a ton. I've never actually heard that complaint from a customer either. And we work with thousands of customers around the country and have for years. So again, it's definitely possible. The open rate, because you asked that question as well, like what the open rates are. If I had a way to track open rates, man, I'd be so much more wealthy than I am at the moment. But in our experience, like 95% open rate typically is what we're estimating, just because you get it. There's no way to know that it's a piece of marketing mail, and it stands out and it looks totally different than everything else. So, that's kind of what we've seen, but I personally have not come across that objection yet from somebody, being like, well, this isn't from my grandma. What the hell? Just haven't come across it yet.
Yeah, no, it makes sense. I think the neutral letter is just so much more effective, and then having something that people are most likely to open and advertise.
And that's a good point. Yeah, and that's a good point too. Like when you open it, the messaging too, we're very intentional to have it be very inviting, open, not like, hey, I want to buy your house, call me now, or this is the 3rd time I've tried to reach you, why haven't you called me back, kind of thing. It's very like, if you guys have ever read the book How to Win Friends and Influence People, it's based off of that methodology. Is like how we built our copy and our messaging, and our copywriter that helps us build that like tweaks everything kind of based on that ideology.
So let's talk about that a little bit, because not every direct mail marketing service is going to go that in depth with you. Just the 3 cents you said right there of, yeah, they might help you with design and stuff like that, but the actual messaging is so crucial. So
Yeah.
what have you seen? And Dan and I are both in land. I imagine a majority of your clients are probably houses or small multifamily.
Yeah. We
What
have land guys too, but it's probably mostly single family, small multis. Yeah.
Awesome. What language do you feel like your clients have had the most success with? Like what messaging specifically
Yeah.
yields that?
Yeah, good question. So we test all kinds of different stuff all the time. We typically test it on ourselves first. So we're the ones who take the brunt if it's a dud, not a customer. But the most standard copy that works the best says, "Dear homeowner, what are your plans for 123 Main Street? I'm prepared to make a cash offer that I'd love to discuss with you. Call or text me at this phone number. Sincerely, Mason." Very, very simple. There are some tweaks that we're starting to put into that a little bit. This kind of goes back to your first question of like, actually, it pertains to this as well, but the most effective way to get people to respond to you. So we're starting to put in like extra incentives into that copy. So things like, we'll help pay for your move, or we can give you X amount in cash up front before closing. Like different things like that, that there's a different incentive for that person to call in that nobody else is doing right now. And this is actually the first podcast we've talked about that on, doing that. So I'm sure in 3 months, other mail houses will start doing it too. But we've seen really good results out of that too, because it's just like, if you want to sell your house and you don't have the money to move, you don't know how to move, you don't know what you're going to do, like, cool, we can help solve that problem. That's what we do as real estate investors, is solve problems for people. So that's kind of like our main standard copy that works really well. But what we do as well is like, Mason, I don't know if you're doing like a one-time order or a sequence, but if you go through a sequence with us, every single month that copy changes just a little bit to target a different pain point why somebody might want to sell. So it might talk about selling and not paying realtor commissions one month. The next month it'll say, selling without cleaning your house, or selling without fixing it, get a fast cash offer, close in 30 days. Like there's a little bit of a tweak that kind of goes into that original messaging I mentioned when we do that. But targeting different reasons why somebody might want to actually sell.
Well, and that right there is, most people are not your sellers. So if you can appeal to these different motivations, it's going to, and you have a high open rate, it's going to get a lot more response. I mean, in the land space, like the most popular letter that I think people send is the blind offer of, I want to buy your land at 123 Main Street for $8.43 or something like that. And so like, yeah. I became licensed recently, and like this postcard here where it says tired of lowball offers on your land got an enormous response. And I think that being able to, and I am doing just a one-time order to test it. I'm hitting every large ranch owner within, nice. My 2-state radius, basically. I think the sequence is the most effective. And I'm so excited to be talking to you about it, because we've done different stuff over the years that has paid off tremendously. Of like, we time sending, tired of paying property taxes on your vacant land the same time that the tax bill comes in the mail. And we really try to time that out, and being able to create a sequence with you guys that has the high open rate that you're able to get a little bit creative with, and you have a copywriting team that can help is it's just cool. It's cool service to work with.
Yeah, I love that. That's a great idea. Sending it right around when taxes are due, because that's, in all the people that I talk to, is the number one reason why people sell their land is they inherited it. They got to pay taxes on it. It's just sitting there. Like, it's just costing them money every year.
Yeah. That's a whole nother conversation. One of the things that I think benefits us is so many people from single family or small apartments come into land and don't take the time to understand the avatar they're marketing to, and all their copy is not addressing what's important to them. But we can come back to that. But something you said I really wanted to dive into, which is the sequence, and you're mailing these people every month. A lot of people, at least in the land space, they don't hit sellers consistently, or maybe it's once a year. I hit the same people about every 3 to 4 months with mail. Where did you come up with the every month iteration, and how long is that for?
Great question. It's mind-blowing to me that people don't send more than one piece of mail to somebody. Like the way I explain it to people, any form of advertisement that you've seen, Instagram, billboards, TV, whatever it is, you're seeing that ad way more than one time before you buy, right? Same exact concept applies to direct mail. If you send one piece of mail, they're going to see it, think about it for a minute. If they're not interested at that point, throw it away. Well, in 2 months, when they change their mind and something comes up, who are they going to reach out to? The person that is most often in front of them. And I'll give you guys some good data behind this too, because we work with Deal Machine on a lot of stuff. So this is kind of doing our mail through Deal Machine as well that we've got some of this data from. But the most effective way that you can send direct mail to somebody, or we'll say it this way, the most opportunity you're going to get out of a list when you're mailing to people is by hitting them between 3 and 5 months in a row. If you like the numbers were something like month one, about 14 to 15% of the people that ever would have called in will call in on month one. So you're missing 85% of the people if you stop there. Month two, that number goes up to 30. Month three, you're up to like 55, 60%. And then between months 4 and 5 is where you hit like between 60, 70, 80% of anybody that ever would have called in is going to call in. And that's because you have to be consistent and send something to them. And that's why, like, when we do a sequence, we vary the piece that's going out every single month. So it's not the same thing. They don't see it and they're like, oh, there's Justin again, and throw it away. It's something new. It's something different. There's a different reason why they might want to capitalize on it. So that's kind of how we originally built it out, without that data, without that knowledge there of just knowing, hey, anytime there's any form of marketing, you're going to see it more than once, right? On Instagram, before I buy something, I see it 3 or 4 days in a row and I'm like, all right, fine, I'll buy the book. Yeah. Or, I'll get the stupid little trinket for my desk or whatever that I found. So same concept. And with us, a 30-day cycle has worked the best from what we've seen with people. We've done 60 days, we've done 90 days. And I think for land, more spread out time is going to work a little bit better, 60 to 90 days typically. But for homeowners, like, especially if somebody's facing like pre-foreclosure or bankruptcy, or they inherited a property, like that problem it's getting, I would say, how do I say this? That problem is becoming more and more apparent every single month to them, right? It's not something that they're like, we're going to forget about it for 3 months, well, there it is. It's still have the property. Don't know what to do with it. So that's kind of how we came up with that 30-day sequence. And we typically run like between 6 and 7 months is pretty standard for most of the stuff that we do.
Interesting. I'm going to have to try this, because I know you said with land, maybe space it out a bit more, but I still want to give it a try. So for some of these really prime areas where there aren't that many, because with land, you run into this all the time, right? If you look in all of Eastern Colorado, where Mason and I do a lot of business, for 100+ acre tracts, you only have a few hundred.
Yeah.
I mean, if it's all of Eastern, it's a little bit more than that, but it's not that many.
Yeah.
I'll have to give that a try. I've never hit them that frequently, and I think that's probably a missed opportunity, and not many people in land are doing it.
No, and most people don't. Like the land people we do work with, we get a new list every month, and it's, I don't know. For me, it makes way more sense to hit them multiple times and be at front of mind, because then eventually, like if they do sell and they got, Joe's letter instead of yours, well, they might call Joe instead of you. But if you're consistent and they see you every month, they're probably going to think of you, especially if your stuff stands out.
Yeah. Interesting. Okay. So what, aside from iteration, is there anything else that you find people consistently get wrong about mail methodology, anything at all that you're consistently seeing that's off, that doesn't match up with the data that you're seeing from successful people?
Yes. And I won't say it's just mail in general, but it's real estate investors in general. So you guys both know my brother Ryan. He has a coaching group that we've probably had 1,500 people come through at this point, and it's the same 2 problems every single time. Whether if it's through the coaching group, if it's through networking groups I'm in, or it's through Ballpoint or Call Porter, there's 2 reasons that I see that people are not successful, and it's you're not consistent in marketing, whatever form of marketing it is. I don't care. Could be us, could be cold calling, whatever. Be consistent with it. The number one thing we see, especially with direct mail and newer investors, is I'm going to send 2,000 pieces of mail out. Cool. I got a deal under contract. I'm going to stop all my marketing while I work this deal, while I flip it, while I do all the stuff that I need to do. And then when I close it and have some more money, I have no leads to work now. And now I got to start over again. And that's like, we call it a 6-figure hamster wheel. It's like, it's a great way to stay at a 6-figure job you made for yourself and not make anything beyond that, because you're doing 3 to 4 deals a year and restarting every single time. So being consistent in the marketing. Second is consistency and follow-up. those, like, if you can master those two things, or not even master, just understand them and do them even bad, you'll be successful doing this, right? Like, you can hone those skills and get better. And I've been doing this lately where I'll talk to customers that are like, I'm just not getting any deals. We're like, okay, let's analyze how many calls you had come in, how many leads are working. Let me log into your CRM and let's do a CRM audit. Let's see where things are at. Like, what are we doing in our CRM? And I kid you not, without fail, 90% of the time, you'll see leads that have no next action step assigned to it. No follow-up, no task, no text message drip. Like, there's nothing there. And my whole thought process on this is you paid for the leads and you're working them, and new leads come in. Guess what you're focusing on now? New leads. These old ones get forgotten about and they don't matter anymore. And there's deals in there. So, like, we had one this year we did that took us 53 attempts after the initial contact to get the contract signed. We got it signed and it's selling next week, but we wouldn't have that 15 to 20 grand we're making on that if we stopped at 12 or 15 or 18 or whatever. Like, you have to be consistent in both of those things to be successful.
I think it's funny and annoying, Justin, how the answer remains the same in how to sit in business.
It's wild. Yeah. It's
because it's so funny to me, as a decent, I own a decent amount of land. I get a lot of letters every day. I call these people. I literally just threw one away in the trash can from when I got today. I call these people just to see, because sometimes I have lots that are sitting for a long time. I've never gotten a call back, ever. Hundreds of times.
From the people that sent you a piece of mail?
Yeah. And I'm just like, dude, like that's the issue.
Wild.
If you answer the phone, you're consistent with your marketing. And I mean, Gary Keller talks about it in the Millionaire Real Estate Agent, of you should touch your clients or potential leads 33 times a year. 12 pieces of direct mail and, 24 phone calls or 20 phone calls. I can't do math, but yeah, I think, in the age where there's so much automation available, even putting people on the most simple auto follow-up plan that you have within your CRM of like a text every 30 days of, hey, just checking in, is going to get you so many more deals. But
100%.
Move up a little higher and talk about the actual operations of Ballpoint Marketing. What does the team look like? How much mail are you guys sending? And why have you guys just continued to build this business? Or, what was that tipping point? I know I'm asking a lot of questions at the same time.
It's okay. I'll try and remember them all.
Yeah. And what was the tipping point of, I know you mentioned when Ryan was like a bunch of friends were asking for deals and stuff like that.
Yeah.
For you guys to be like, this is a real company. We're going all in on this.
Yeah. Yeah. Good question. So right now we've got on our executive team, we've got me. I oversee like all the day-to-day operations, make sure that things are running. We have money, we're advertising. And then I also handle like all new product stuff. So testing new things and getting creatives made, all that kind of stuff. We've got our copywriter, we've got our marketing team, and we've got development guy that's overseas. And then we've got our floor manager here. We've got like 5 or 6 reps on the floor that are actually producing the mail. We run pretty lean from like a team standpoint. And then we've got 3 customer service reps. So we try to keep everything pretty lean on the production floor out there. We're actually more top heavy on the executive side of things for what we do, because that's where the production side is like, it's challenging, but it's also not as challenging as like, how do we find our ideal customer and how do we, stand out from all the other marketing companies that are out there. So I would say all in like 15 people or so, something like that.
Inclusive, how many robots are working for you, doing all the labor of writing?
Yeah. 70 right now.
There you go.
So we got 70 handwriting machines and we have one guy running them, and it's set up to where enough goes on each job that he runs around and keeps them fed with paper, checks them, does proofs, make sure everything looks good. And then we've got some like floaters on the floor where if their job is done or, caught up, they then go out and help on the machines and stuff like that too. So that being said, we do 600 to 700,000 pieces of mail a month right now, something like that for people all over the country. And we've even done some international clients lately as well, which has been interesting. So do a decent amount there. And then your other question on like, what was like the tipping point for us to say, hey, let's build this into a business. So it's kind of funny how it happened, because I had never planned to run a mail company. Just it wasn't on my radar. I was running Call Porter. This was in 2019. And my brother Ryan, who's my business partner, he had actually purchased the home next to his home in Beech Grove, Indiana, in like the middle of nowhere. Real rough kind of area, but it was like where they started out. So the Ballpoint was ran out of that house, and him and his wife had to move to San Diego because she's in the Navy. So he left somebody there in charge of it, and that guy was like running it into the ground. He was stealing, had like ghost employees on payroll that were getting paid, but really it was just going to family members of his, and like nobody was there. So I got a call on like a Thursday, and he was like, "You want to run a mail company too?" And I was like, "Sure." He's like, "Okay, I need you to go get a U-Haul right now and drive to Indianapolis." I was like, "My anniversary is tomorrow. Let me make sure my wife won't murder me if that happens." And luckily enough, she was able to let me go. I don't think she was feeling good anyway. But my brother-in-law, who works for us here, myself, and then Ryan flew out, literally went out on a Friday to pick up all of the all the machines and inserting and all that kind of stuff, and brought it back here. And at that point, we were maybe doing 20 or 30,000 pieces a month, something like that. So pretty small at that point, but we're like, okay, we need to, on that phone call, we're like, all right, we're either going to close Ballpoint and just be done with it, or we're going to grow it. And like, we saw the potential in it at that point. So we'd been working with a coach at that point as well, which kind of helped us make that decision of seeing what the potential was there. Because at that point, nobody else was doing this in the real estate space. Now there's like 4 of them, but we're the first ones to bring it to market in real estate.
So, and if you're allowed to talk about it, what are the margins? Because, you know, I think of how much just like going to the store and buying an envelope and sending a piece of mail costs me on my end. And it really doesn't feel like I'm paying much more whenever I have someone handwriting thousands of mailers.
Yeah. So it's an interesting business. I will say that. If you're at a high enough volume, the margins are decent. They're 20, 30%, right? They're pretty good. If you have low months, that's where you're like, it's a little bit thinner this month. So it's kind of always been this balance of how do we get to the volume that we want to be and keep and maintain the margin that we're at. And our kind of like focus this year has been less on finding someone that wants to spend $500, because we can cycle those through very, very quickly, get them in and out the door, but building more long-term relationships with larger players in the industry. And those are the people that we really like to work with, is people that are sending 20, 30, 40, 50,000 pieces of mail a month. Cool. Like, let's talk about your budget, what your results are, and how we can improve that for you. And that's what we focus on mostly now.
Gotcha. And whenever you're doing that much mail, are there discounts that you get like through the postal service of it's cheaper per letter or anything?
Nope. I wish if there was a tiered discount program for postage, my life would be, I would be so happy with that. No, most of our discounts come into play with envelopes, paper, like buying that type of stuff in bulk and having that ready to go. But a 78-cent stamp that you buy at the store is still 78 cents for me, even if there's 10,000 of them on a roll. And even if we spend $3 or $4 million a year on postage, it's still the same. The only real way for us to get a discount is by doing like some of the work for the post office, which we do bits and pieces of that. But when you're pre-sorting things, like they like them trade up in certain ways and organized in specific ways, that you do get some breaks there, but it's not like a true discount. It's like, if you want a cheaper price, you're going to work for it and do it. So there are some certain things like that we do, but no rewards programs, unfortunately.
So it sounds like going after the larger, consistent clients is a big part of the focus. Now, are you expanding outside of real estate? Are you already doing mail for people outside of real estate? What does that expand or growth look like?
I say, you must be reading our minds or something. Yeah. So, I mean, over the years, we've always done stuff outside of real estate for people too. Like, we get requests all the time. Like, we work with, like John Maxwell, for example, if you know him as the author. I'm fortunate enough that his vice president used to be my business coach. So like, we do mail for them occasionally, a couple times a year. We do stuff for solar industry. We do roofing, plumbing, HVAC. We've done churches. We've done, like smoke shops, that are opening up in a new area and they want to target everyone within a vicinity. So we definitely do target those other industries. Within, I don't know when this podcast will come out, but hopefully by mid-September, our new website will be live. And with that, launching into the home services industry is what we're moving into and adding in. So we'll always do real estate. It's always going to be a big part of what we do. But we get so many requests from the roofers, plumbers, lawn care professionals, pest control, all of that kind of stuff, that we have a whole product line that'll be coming out. And it's literally like final stages of development right now. But we're hoping for like middle of September for that launch. So we're moving into that. And then it won't be on the site just yet, but next is business acquisitions. So M&A, we've seen absurd results with those. Like typical, like we didn't talk about response rates yet, and I'm sure we'll get there, but typical direct mail response rates are 0.5% to 1% with handwritten stuff that we do. Like we're seeing like 9 to 10% on business acquisition mail. So I'm like, all right, there's definitely a niche here. And same, even with home services, we've seen, 4 or 5% on some of that stuff too. So it's just kind of adding in some extra industries there.
Yeah, I believe that. One thing that came to mind as you're talking is I bet there's some real money in sending political mail. But I don't know if that's
There is.
you guys would ever want to do.
Yes, we've done some small stuff here and there. So if anyone's listening, we'll work with you. The thing we have found is they're very, very particular on specifics. So we have to like make sure we nail everything perfectly for it. But we have done some like small political campaigns for, people running in a certain city or something like that. But definitely a good need for that too.
Yeah. Interesting. Well, you kind of opened the door to response rate. So let's dive into that. You said 0.5% to 1%. Are we talking houses and small multifamily in major metros? Is there much variation if we're dealing with second or tertiary markets? Tell us about that.
Yeah, good question. So the busier the place you're going to, all the major metros, you're going to have a lower response rate, no matter what. This just is what it is. So, you go to like, let's use San Diego as an example. San Diego is one of my, I want to say least favorite, one of the more challenging markets that we've done mail in. Typically people are spending 10 to 12 grand to get a deal. Yeah. Typically what we see. So response rates there might be, 0.2% or less. So the thing there is volume plays. And then how do you make your stuff stand out? And the more you get outside of like, downtown San Diego or like Torrey Pines or, out, you get more out like it's like Fallbrook or some of those areas. And I only know this because Ryan lives there. But, the further out you get, the better your results are going to be in a major metro like that. But on the same side, I have a client in Dallas that operates from DFW all the way up to the Oklahoma border. And they see like 0.5% on average there. And they're doing 30, 35 deals a month, something like that. And it's just consistency and volume that they're doing. So the closer you get to a major metro, you're going to be under 0.5% typically. But if you're in secondary and tertiary markets, that's where you're seeing the 0.5% to 1%. And it also varies on the piece of mail that you're sending too. Like postcards, for example, are going to be a little bit less because people can see it. They know what it is. They're not opening anything and they might throw it away on the way in. The envelopes or the hybrid letters that you're doing, Mason, for example, those are 0.5% to 1% typically, somewhere within there. Sometimes higher, just kind of depends on your list that we talked about a little bit earlier, but that's typically what we see as compared to like standard printed mail is like less than 0.1% usually.
Yeah, I believe that. Now, I saw on your website door hangers. Are there any other creative marketing techniques like something like door hangers that any of your clients in these really competitive areas are doing that are getting higher response rates for those areas that you really are trying to touch and talk to every homeowner you can?
Yeah, good question. And if you're still seeing that on our site, that's a problem because that's discontinued. So
okay.
I'll have to go and find that if that's still on there somewhere. But yeah, so anyway, that's you can edit this out or leave it in, doesn't matter. But a product we don't sell anymore. From a creative standpoint, like here's one thing that I would recommend doing on. I'm trying to think of a good response for that because there's not really a like standard super creative thing that somebody is doing that others aren't. We talked about a little bit, but like the messaging that goes inside of the letters is a big part of it. Of what you're willing to do, how you're willing to help people. But I will say one thing that you can do and makes a lot of sense, and we're probably going to introduce this as a product in the near future as well, is for like non-converting leads in your CRM. So you've got somebody you talked to, you made an offer, and they're just ghosting you, not responding, whatever it is. Cool. Export that out, and you could do this on your own. You could send it to us when we have the product live, but print out a letter, hand sign it, maybe even an offer, like a contract if you've already given them an offer, put it in a FedEx envelope and ship it to them and make them sign for it. Nobody does that, and the results are insane on it, just because I can't tell you the last time I signed for an envelope. It's been maybe a year since I've had to do that. Cost you $10 or $15 for each one, but to send that out, and for people that you've already talked to already know who you are, and you're sending them a contract with the offer you've already made as well as a note along with it. I mean, that's a no-brainer to send out something like that. So that's something I would definitely incorporate as people are working through leads and things like that. If you've just got those people ghosting you, like that's something that's super creative you can do too.
I feel validated because I say that. I mean, it's just like you make them sign for it, and it's $10 for something that's ideally going to make you thousands and thousands of dollars. So why would you not? But on response rates, I asked because I'm about to send them all out. I'm doing it as a realtor. Like I'm seeking listings primarily with this targeted mailing that I'm doing. Mm-hmm. Do you see or hear from your clients that you get a higher response rate when you are a realtor sending these types of mailers compared to the investor?
Yeah, because nobody's doing that. Like, there are people that are doing it, but if you take however many realtors there are in the US, it's probably like 1 or 2% of people that actually do that or send any sort of mail. So yes, definitely higher results on that. Like a really good example that I can think of is a customer we work with in Springfield, Missouri. They send maybe 2,500, 3,000 pieces of mail a month and get a couple listings out of it. And part of it is like they're very targeted with their list on who they send to. And I'll throw this on here for any realtors that are listening. Like their primary target is the person moving from their first home to their second home. Mm-hmm. They have kids now. They've outgrown the 1,500 square foot, 3-bed, 2-bath house. They need something bigger. So they target that person specifically based off of how long they've lived there, like 5 to 7 years usually. But what they do is they then compare that to the MLS and how many sales have gone to a single agent within that area. So if like a zip code that or a neighborhood, for example, that they're targeting is more than like 30 or 40% going to the same agent, they don't even mail to it because there's clearly a good relationship there with that agent. And they avoid those areas. So they're targeting the areas that there's not a clear agent presence, I guess, if that makes sense, in that specific neighborhood or condo complex or wherever you're targeting. And they're seeing really good results with that because they're not like, yeah, Mary on the HOA lists all of our houses in here. It's a little bit more targeted to who they're going to. So that's a great thing that you can do as a realtor if you're sending out mail, is target the areas that don't have a huge agent presence right now.
Awesome. Yeah. And I mean, everyone listening, regardless of if you're a realtor or in land or wholesaling houses or whatever, I mean, understanding the data and then just being consistent with the marketing, getting creative with it, because regardless of what marketing methodology you're using, if you're consistent with it, you're going to have a level of success, assuming that you're following up and answering the phone at all. And that's it. That's real estate investing of like direct to seller acquisitions, which is what's really, really, really cool about it. So let's switch maybe gears to Call Porter a little bit. Can you tell us about that company?
Yeah, for sure. So that's our first company we started. It's live answering for real estate investors. So you talked about it earlier. If you send out mail, answer your phone. Like if you send out mail or any form of marketing, just answer your phone live. It is, it's funny. We did an ad on this actually, where we picked 10 random businesses around the country. Like we had somebody on our team just pick 10 random real estate investment companies around the country. We called them all. Only one answered, and it happened to be a Call Porter client. Huh. Like that was the only person that answered out of 10 clients. And these are like number one ranked on either SEO or paid traffic on Google, and they're not answering their phones. So like even if you're part-time and you have a full-time job still, that's why Call Porter is here, is to help you answer your calls. It's all US based agents. that are specific to real estate. They're taking calls, building rapport, finding out why they want to sell, how soon they want to sell, what's going on with the property, and then actually booking appointments for you and then sending everything to your CRM. So you basically have like a front desk receptionist essentially, but you have 25 of them that work 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, or only closed on major holidays to be able to answer all of your calls. So for $500 to $1,500 a month, somewhere in there, the ROI is there if you're answering your calls. And that's why that company started, actually. Funny enough, that's where my brother and I came from, was call centers. We worked in the car warranty industry here in Missouri for years. And as a real estate investor, he had a call come in on a Friday, and he's like, look, he didn't answer it. He's like, I'm on a date with my wife. I'm going to make her happy, yada, yada, yada. Called him back the next morning, and he was like, yeah, he's like, I really wanted to sell to you because I really liked like your guys' online presence and everything. He's like, but I sold to the person who took the initiative to answer the phone. He's like, oh, dude, it was like a $20,000 deal. So it's like, that's why Call Porter started, is that exact conversation. So if you are not answering your phone calls, your competition is, and that's why they're getting deals and you're not.
Yeah. Yeah. The ones that get away, man, those ones really hurt. And especially,
Especially when you could have prevented it.
Yeah. Yeah. In housing too, especially knowing the lists a lot of you guys are targeting, there is distress, there's urgency. So you really need to be answering the phone.
Oh yeah. And it's especially if your SEO presence is good or you're paying for online ads, like those, because we have a service within Call Porter where we'll connect to your website. And anytime someone submits a form, like contact us and here's our address, we call them within 60 seconds. And the goal is to stop them from going to the next website and punching in their information there. So if people don't have that, or they're not responding to those immediately, that's typical speed to lead statistics we could find on that. But answering your calls live and reaching out to your people as quick as possible is the most important thing.
Yeah, I believe it. Okay, so Call Porter, Ballpoint, for both of these companies, I've certainly seen ads on Facebook or Instagram. I know you guys are running a lot of SEO, and it's not even the right word. I'm not particularly knowledgeable here, but talk to us a bit about that and how potentially investors like us can use that for sellers. Are you guys offering that service or not?
Running ads, you mean?
Yeah, you don't do any of that for your clients, do you?
Not yet.
Okay.
It's on our roadmap. Our goal first is to get the new site live with the new products and everything. But our goal within the next year or so is to be able to accompany ads with direct mail.
Even internally for your guys' companies, talk to us about those advertisements on Facebook, on Instagram, because I've used you guys. I'll continue to use you. And I think that's where I found you initially. Is that where a lot of your business is coming from, or is it coming from elsewhere?
Yeah, good question. It's a mixture. And we're actually, I don't know if you guys have this problem. I'm sure other service-based businesses have this problem, but pinpointing exactly where your customer came from when you have like 9 different channels can be challenging. So we're literally building out like dashboards right now to be able to track and see like this person saw this ad, clicked on this form, went here and paid, or hopped on a call with our team and then paid three days later or whatever. So we get a lot from paid ads. We also get a lot from SEO. We've spent a lot of time and a lot of money over the last 6 years building our SEO presence. We also get a lot of referrals from people, from affiliate partners that we work with, podcasts we've been on, things like that. And then we're also in a couple like masterminds as well. So there's kind of like a mixture of stuff. But I mean, it's kind of surprising how many leads come in just from SEO that have nothing to do with real estate investing. They're like, oh, cool, this company does handwriting. I wonder if they can do it for, like we had a guy that does firework tents. He was like, I wonder if, I have a new firework tent starting this year. I wonder if you could do mail for that. Like, yeah, we could absolutely do that. Like, if you can think of it, we can do it. And that's kind of like, we focused on real estate for a long time, but it's a mixture of kind of all of those avenues on there. We do, I'll give a little bit of the secret sauce out here, because this is what a coach taught me and my brother like years ago when we first hired him, is you want your clients to see you everywhere, no matter where they go, right? Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, email, whatever you want them to see them. So when people opt into our website or they go to our website, they get targeted and tracked around everywhere through Google Pixels and Facebook Pixels and things like that, basically. And so they're being tracked, and they then are on our email list where they're getting value add. And our kind of the formula, if you guys are running ads anywhere online, is don't have everything be a call to action to use you or to become a customer. That doesn't work very well. So for us, I think it's like 60-40, if I remember correctly, or 70-30, where it's like value driven ads. And then there's the ads to book a call with us, become a customer. Same thing with our emails. Same thing if we text you. Like there's a mixture of value versus you want the value to be high enough to make sense that they come to work with you and see that like, hey, these guys just aren't trying to get my credit card. Like they truly want to help me succeed and be or help me accomplish the goals that I want to accomplish in my business.
So what specifically are you doing to capture like the attribution of where the lead came from? Because I imagine it's like, okay, well, turns out 70% of our leads are coming from Facebook ads. I imagine it'd be like, all right, I want to pour all of my almost all of my marketing budget into Facebook rather than these additional channels. So building the back end of tracking that, what does that process look like? Are you bringing an agency or help in, or are you?
Yeah, that has been the number one problem we've been trying to solve for 5 years is how do we best, how do we know we put $10 here, we get $50 back or whatever the formula is. So we use HubSpot as our CRM to track everything, and it gives us a lot of good data. We also use Facebook and Google and all that kind of stuff. But most of the time, it doesn't give you a clear path to know exactly where somebody came from. So we're actually, I've talked about the dashboards we're building right now internally, but we hired an outside firm that's going through and basically taking all the metadata that comes from everywhere that we do marketing and customers can come from, down to sales calls, everything. And they have a way to basically map all of that out to be able to follow someone's journey all the way through. So we're like towards the tail end of building that right now. But that's been a big challenge for us over the years, is to be able to, because we've got like our theories of like where we think things are working. And then sometimes we'll up the budget and we're like, results didn't go with that. I think it might have been the wrong area. So it's been a challenge for years to try and figure that out. And we've tried 2 or 3 different agencies to do it. None of them could figure it out. And then we got introduced to a group or a guy that told us about just kind of how you can actually take the metadata that comes from all of these different areas and be able to build reports off of it. And that's kind of what we're working on right now.
Gotcha. Yeah, it's really fascinating. It's something I tried. I ran meta ads for a little while in the land business, and the leads just, they were almost all houses, which, was not worth it for me. It is something that I feel like, especially in the service industry, that is really, really beneficial. So like within your own real estate investing, are you using meta ads or YouTube ads to go acquire real estate, or is it point and call porter?
I'd have to check because I partner with Ryan on that here in St. Louis. I don't know that we have any running currently in St. Louis, but there are other locations that they have. I do know they do some online ads with it too. So, but if I'm not mistaken, direct mail and radio have been like the top performers for that business.
Interesting. Radio. Okay. We got to dig into that. Tell us, how are you finding?
I don't know anything about it.
Oh, okay.
I'll be honest. That is one that I just know because we don't do it here in St. Louis. So I basically am part of Ryan's franchise Sold Fast. I help the St. Louis location here kind of run all the ground leads and everything. But at their corporate office, I know like in Des Moines, Iowa, their primary driver of leads has been radio over the years. Outside of that, I don't know much, unfortunately.
Interesting. Radio. Huh. Yeah. I kind of like the idea when everyone's focused on the new technology of well, what's the analog version? What's the old school, tried and true thing you can focus on that's often underappreciated. And mail is certainly that, but radio probably is as well.
Yeah. There's not many people I hear in St. Louis on radio. I'll see a couple TV ads here and there from a couple guys that I know, but I don't hear a ton of radio ads. So I wish I knew more about it, but from what I understand, it works pretty well for them.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
So I've heard you reference a number of times deals that you guys are doing. So you and your brother have your own flipping business still, or are you just wholesaling, or what does that look like as far as what you guys are doing yourselves aside from the marketing businesses?
Yeah. So when we have time, here in St. Louis, right now we're either wholesaling or flipping is what we're focused on. So we've got right now 2 houses that we're doing. One that we just wholesaleed I think it closes in the next week or so. And the other one we tried wholesaling, didn't get a ton of traction on it. And then we had some, I hate that it happened, but the toilet upstairs, the like shut off valve wasn't working. So when it was running, it was just filling up the tank instead of draining through. We didn't catch it for like a week, and it like just destroyed the entire ceiling in the basement. So now we get to go through and do that and just do a full rehab on it at this point. So, it happens.
Yeah. Yeah. The fun of old houses.
Yes, literally. It was like even the shut off valve to the toilet was turned off, but it was like just enough where it wasn't turned off all the way and a little bit was coming through, and then it's not draining through for whatever reason and it's just leaking out of the toilet handle. It's like, cool, love that. Destroyed the entire bathroom below it and a room next to it, and yeah.
I've had similar things happen, so I feel your pain there. Oh well, Justin, this has been fun. It's really been a direct to seller masterclass. Anything that we didn't ask you that you'd like to hit on or think should have been brought up or asked?
Yeah, no, I mean, good question. Not off the top of my head from like a marketing standpoint, but I always like to let everybody know, like, we're more than just a marketing company. Like, we're here to truly help you be successful. And because if you order from mail for 1 month, doesn't do anybody any good. Doesn't do us any good. Doesn't do you any good. You're not consistent. We want to be there to help you and be consistent in your marketing and make sure that you're getting deals, you're making profit, you're having fun, you're doing all that kind of stuff. So we do have one other product we haven't talked about on here yet that kind of couples everything together that we use in our business for like one monthly cost. And that includes the data that you need for your marketing. We partnered with Deal Machine to provide all of the data for you. We then partnered with Resimply to give you a CRM that you can manage all of your leads, track everything, run reports, send your follow-ups, build your follow-up sequences in there. Ballpoint Marketing will send the direct mail out, and then Call Porter will answer all of your calls for one flat rate. So instead of you having to go through and set up 4 separate companies, do all the work yourself, our team does that, pulls everything together for you, starting at like $2,400 a month on the lowest tier and goes up from there. And then we do like a monthly live coaching call with everybody that's in that group too. So if that's something that you're like, I need more help, I need more handholding to kind of get started, that product specifically is built for that. It's not even on our website right now. But it's called Lead Engine, and basically includes all of that together. So I don't know how you'll send this out to people, but just reach out to us and mention Lead Engine, and we'll definitely help you guys out with that. But that's a big thing that we help a lot of folks with.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we'll link everything that you have in the show notes and in the bio, and just reach out to the company directly. They're great to work with. But Justin, where can people find out more about you?
Yeah, ballpointmarketing.com is probably going to be the easiest place. I'm not on Instagram a ton, but we do have Ballpoint Marketing Instagram. I'm more on Facebook because I'm a millennial, so that's where most of my stuff is at. But yeah, I mean, if anybody has questions, like, feel free to reach out to me at justin@ballpointmarketing.com. Probably the quickest way to get in touch with me.
Awesome. Well, Justin, it was an absolute pleasure having you on the show.
Thanks for having me on. This was fun.
And we feel validated by you proving that direct mail is still the way to go. We love it, and we'll continue to use it forever. But everyone, this is Mason McDonald and Dan Haberkost with Justin Dossey and the Big Picture Blueprint signing off.